Welcome everyone.
Assalamualaikum and good evening everyone. Today we're going to have a discussion about the Toyota failure or their downfall. So, there will be some questions for you guys to give some opinion and recommendation, and we can conclude after the break. First, how about you identify about the damage and failure at Toyota?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So, my name is Haris. I will talk about damage and failure at Toyota. In October 2009, consumers were surprised by the first of a series of highly publicized recall of Toyota vehicle in the United States, citing a potential problem in which polypaste or incorrect floor mats under the driver's seat could lead to uncontrolled acceleration in a range of models. Toyota announced that it was recalling 3.8 million US vehicles. The recall was triggered by the report of a fiery crash in California where the accelerator of a Lexus sedan got stuck, resulting in the driver's death. Additional report of unintended acceleration from sticky gas pedal prompted the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration to pressure Toyota to recall additional vehicle and model. In the case of Toyota, there were definitely indications that the quality level of its product had fallen off in recent years. What's more, the changes had occurred during a period of time when many of Toyota competitors, such as Ford, Chevrolet and Hyundai, were producing better and better cars. Next is Toyota initiated the recall, the first two with the assistance of the US National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and HTSA, after reports that several vehicles experienced unintended acceleration. The first recall on November 2, 2009 was to correct a out-of-place front driver side floor mat into the foot pedal well, which can cause pedal entrapment. The second recall on January 21st, 2010 was begun after some crashes were shown not to have been caused by floor mat incursion. This latter defect was identified as a possible mechanical sticking of the accelerator pedal, causing unintended acceleration, referred to as sticking accelerator pedal by Toyota. Following the floor mat and accelerator pedal recall, Toyota also issued a separate recall for hybrid anti-lock brake software in February 2010. Next, I will pass to Shami to continue. Thank you.
Toyota had issued recall for about 5.2 million vehicles due to pedal entrapment, floor mat issues, and an additional 2.3 million vehicles due to accelerator pedal issues as of January 28, 2010. A total of 1.7 million automobiles are affected by both. Certain Lexus and Porsche automobiles that were related to problem were also affected. Toyota expanded the recall the next day to include 1.8 million vehicles in Europe and 75,000 in China. By that time, Toyota had recalled a total of 9 million vehicles worldwide. As a result of the accelerator pedal recall, sale of number recall models were halted for several weeks until replacement parts were procured. Since 2021, people have died as a result of the pedal problem. But after the January 28 recall, Fresh and HTSA report pushed the total to 37. Following the recall announcement TS, which were prominently covered by US media, the number of purported victims and reported problems skyrocketed, despite the fact that determining the origins of individual claims was impossible. The magnitude of the rapid acceleration issue as well as the credibility of victim and problem reports were disputed by government authorities, automobile specialists, Toyota and members of the general public. Mechanical, electronic and driver fault has all been blamed for abrupt unintended acceleration claims even after having their recalled vehicle repaired. Some owners in the United States reported problems with the accelerator pedal, prompting investigation and discovery of incorrect repairs. Additional NHTSA and Toyota investigation as well as various lawsuits followed the recalls. The NHTSA, in partnership with NASA, released its findings into the Toyota drive-by-wire throttle system study on February 8, 2011. After a 10-month investigation, NASA and NHTSA researchers discovered no electronic flaws in Toyota vehicles. The majority of the events were found to be caused by driver error or pedal misapplication. Our opinion is that Toyota faults were mechanical, not electrical. The research said sticking accelerator pedals and pedals stuck on the floor mats were example of this. However, on October 24, 2013, a jury concluded in Toyota's favor of Toyota, finding that unplanned acceleration could have been caused by flaw in the drive-by-wire throttle technology, also known as the Electronic Throttle Control System (ETCS). The bar group's Michael Barr testified that NASA was unable to complete its study of Toyota's ETCS, that Toyota did not follow best practice for real-time life-critical software, and that a single bit flip induced by cosmic rays might cause unintended acceleration. Furthermore, the real-time operating system runtime state was insufficient. It was conceivable for the stack to grow large enough to override data, causing unintentional acceleration. So as a result, Toyota and the plaintiff have begun negotiating a settlement.
Second, tell me the 8 HR processes that contributes to the downfall of Toyota. I want some opinion and recommendations with this question so I can have some idea towards it. Thank you, moderator, because asking a good question is relevant towards the Toyota case study, which is me and Noraina Natasha will continue to explain about the 8 HR process that actually contributes to the downfall of Toyota company. So the first 4 I will be explaining and the next will be Aina's. So what about the first 4? The first HR process that contributes more towards the downfall of Toyota is a recognition and reward. I think for me, the basis or the main purpose of the reward is to encourage the employee, while the goal of a rewarding system is actually giving them an incentive and also encourage them a positive action while discouraging an undesirable one. So I think it is very critical to recognize and promote the successful employee actually that force the CEO to act quickly in the face of negative information. My first opinion for the recognition and acknowledgement. So the second one is training. So I think somehow training in Toyota gives more advantage to the employees because they are actually taking care of the basic necessity of vehicle in automotive line or industry. So whatever Toyota give their employee a training, actually they guarantees that they have a necessary capacity and skill to recognize, which is they can deal with the problem they meet. But somehow Toyota can't manage that. So if the managers training had been more effective, this is my recommendation, they would have been more successful in persuading executives to take actually appropriate action in response to the unfavorable information that they had received. So what about the recruiting? Recruit and employees, good employees, perfect employees, the high score employees. What about that? So I think the HR would be on purpose to hire employees being a perfect score of criteria. However, the HR actually they won't neglect the part of employee welfare. So hiring actually is a critical part in the company. They are in a critical role in onboarding high-performing individuals with the ability and skills required by most complicated situations. Inadequate dating, the recruiting and assessment element actually could give a better result to the management. So they don't have to worry about the downfall of Toyota if they could recruit a good person. So the last part and the last opinion that I can give towards the HR process is the process of performance management. These evaluate and monitor performance on a regular basis. What I've been read in order the Toyota downfall because of they can't take care of the vehicle and they can't QC, quality check about all the tools and so on, and they wouldn't give some breakup for the whatever happened in Toyota actually. So in order to discover a harmful habit before they worsen, Toyota gave a really high performance system that actually maybe they have or they might overlook their performance of staff, and the criteria that would have measured actually give a negative impact or negative information response to it. So guys, I think that is what made Toyota turn down from time to time. That is my opinion, and I will continue with the next one to Natasha.
There are another 4 HR processes that contribute to Toyota's downfall, which are corporate culture, leadership development and succession, retention and risk assessment. And now I'll be discussing first about the corporate culture. In my opinion, Toyota failed to evaluate and monitor the corporate culture contributing to the company's misalignment. This happened because Toyota is unconcerned with the corporate culture. For them, the problem is too small to handle and should not be emphasized in the company. According to the case study, corporate culture's job is to informally guide employee behavior closely toward the company's core values. That is why employee training is important in a workplace, so employees can solve problems no matter how small the problem may be. Safety issues are also important in the workplace since they can assist employees who are feeling overwhelmed. Therefore, every employee must be covered with safety insurance by their respective employer. The sixth one is leadership development and retention. In my observation, Toyota's leadership development approach is so outdated that it produces the incorrect kind of leaders with outdated skills. Using Toyota as an example, the company's HR management is poor because as a result of cultural changes, it shows that the automobile sector changes fast every year. One of the reasons Toyota failed is because its leadership isn't up to date and lack of knowledge on what they are doing. As the leaders serve as a role model for the entire team, the leader and the employee must collaborate and complete all of the assessment together. HR at Toyota company needs extra practice to be an efficient leader because by doing so, all members of a team can get clear instruction and can make the decision that will benefit the team. Next is retention. In this process, the retention program ignores people who raise issues that increase Toyota's problems, and the whistleblowers often live out of frustration with the company. To maintain a positive work environment, HR must keep out employees with negative attitudes. HR should also be strict when making decisions to guarantee that the choice is accepted. This process is important for assessing employee performance as HR must keep track of everything the employees require. HR and employees must work together effectively to tackle all of these issues. The term whistleblower refers to someone who informs about a person or organization that is suspected of participating in illegal or immoral activities. If companies do not take these issues seriously and ignore it, it will become increasingly difficult to resolve. Therefore, HR must act quickly to determine who is the best person to keep in this company and to prevent the company from losing more money and going bankrupt. Last but not least, risk assessment. In my perspective, HR should handle who should work with risk assessment experts and improve their ability to identify and quantify the impact of major HR error, such as high hiring rates, high turnover rates among top performers, and costs involved in keeping bad managers on the job. This is because HR has a better understanding of what they need to take seriously and how to identify their own flaws. Toyota's HR management has to improve its effectiveness, honesty, and consistency in hiring and selecting employees since they will determine whether the company succeeds or fails. Hence, HR management must enhance and ensure that their company has 8 process characteristics in order to improve profits and create a positive environment. That is all from me. Thank you.
Next, what is the lesson learned from Toyota?
The lesson we learned from Toyota is about the importance of the HR department. Even if a company has a lot of money and excellent technology, if HR does not function well, it is difficult for the company to succeed. As you can see from the document, the key lesson that others should learn from Toyota's mistakes is that HR needs to periodically test or audit each of the processes that could allow this type of billion-dollar error to occur. Certainly, if HR had done regular testing and monitoring, this problem could have been prevented. This probably explains the importance of the human resource department.
I give you one sample of situation. The current position is now an HR expertise in Proton. what can you suggest to the management to improve the working culture based on the Toyota failure?
Wow, thank you for that question. It's a very interesting question, and I'll try my best to answer it. Referring to the failure at Toyota, there are certainly several improvements can be done at Proton if Proton ever faces such an ordeal. As a human resource expert at Proton, primarily my suggestion would be to change the corporate culture of the top level management at Proton. Now, the automotive industry, as a lot of us know, can be a demanding industry where a lot of people want innovative change. Proton has been known as a company that sticks with a car design language for many years before actually making change. This can be attributed to the higher ups where they are too afraid to make change to the design, since they have a corporate culture of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And now this needs to change. The top level management of Proton needs to own up to the public perception of their products, because they need to start learn from the mistakes. Changing the corporate belief into satisfying people wants will make Proton a company that is beloved by many people. This is the first change Proton has to make, because it will minimize products defect due to innovative and reliable technology and design being used. Moving on, as a HR expert, I would also like to recommend in enhancing Proton's employee feedback support. HR should be a safe space for employees to highlight any negligence or malpractice of their colleagues that can damage Proton's company image. With this focus on employee feedback support, it can actually improve in terms of any actions that could cost Proton losses like Toyota, and these actions could be diminished. Furthermore, the performance appraisal of Proton needs to be implemented in a way where only the deserving receives the best. Yes, it's true that employees that have met expectations or go beyond their expectations needs to be awarded. However, customer satisfactions and after sales of Proton needs to be monitored for the right people to be awarded also. This means employees will not work employees will work hard even after their projects, because they know that their performances is being judged constantly in a yearly basis and not just after a finished project is done. Another suggestion would be for the Proton team to work with the risk management of Proton. If the risk management is working alone with no help from the HR department or other departments, it will be difficult. And this is because a lot of the employees in Proton needs to be educated, informed, and reminded of the risk and hazards to the company if a project fails terribly. Fails like Toyota maybe. They need to understand that the implication of a failure to Proton, or if let's say many cars of Proton out there needs to be called back because it's full of defect, that it will hurt the Proton's image in front of many people. And in the future, people will not like to buy the cars of Proton anymore. And this is bad in terms of revenue, image, and for the future of the company. I hope these are the certain things that I can see through a HR perspective that can be done in Proton right now. I really hope that answers your question. Thank you.